Round 5 of Porsche Sprint Challenge Iberica, race 14 of an 18-race season. Hello, everybody. Welcome to this glorious autumnal day here at Circuit of Jerez Angel Nieto. We are getting ready to get going with the first of 2 races today. It's a sprint race coming up very, very shortly. Short, sharp, to the point, 20 minutes of door-to-door action for these wonderful cars. And then later on this afternoon, we have the endurance race featuring 2 drivers in some of the cars, a 50-minute plus 1 lap race. All that will be coming up later on, but for the time being, we are getting ready for the sprint race. And as I've already mentioned, it's the 14th race of an 18-race season, so we are very much getting to the sharp end of the championship. Yesterday, we also had a sprint race, and it was Manuel Alves who scored his 6th win of the season in Category 2, the defending champion coming home ahead of Jose Barros and Jorge Ramirez. In Category 1, we had Rui Morita, who also took his 6th win of the season. In fact, yesterday, it was all the defending champions who took wins in their various categories. So Rui Morita winning in Category 1, Manuel Alves winning in Category 2. The driver that won in class in the AMs was Jorge Ramirez, the defending AM champion. The defending Pro-Am champion, Manuel Alves, clearly winning in the Pro-Ams. The defending gentleman drivers champion, Rui Morita, winning there. And the defending female Cup champion, Francisca Queiroz, winning in that category. So very much business as usual. It means that there are valuable points scored for all of these defending champions. And with us up to round 5 of this 6-round season, featuring 3 races every weekend, we are, of course, starting to think about points championships. Coming into this weekend, Manuel Alves was leading Dylan Pereira by just 2 points in the Category 2 championship. Of course, some of the drivers have had a race yesterday, others haven't, so we don't really have a clear picture of the point standings at the moment. But to keep the 2-point gap between them, Dylan Pereira will need to win this race because he is in the seat of the number 17 car. It was driven yesterday by Andre Fernandez, but today Dylan Pereira at the wheel. He's in the best possible position, though, to take those maximum points that he will, if he can get those maximum points from that pole position, he will retain that 2-point gap to Manuel Alves. Andre Fernandez sits 3rd in the overall championship of Category 2, 21 points adrift of Manuel Alves. Alves had, coming into yesterday, a clear 200 points. And then Dylan Pereira with 198, Andre Fernandez with 179. As I've already mentioned, some drivers have had a stint yesterday. For the drivers that are running both of the sprint races, it will be their best finish that will count towards the championship. So clearly, Manuel Alves, having won yesterday, will take a maximum points haul in the sprints of 18 points. There are some drivers that are going solo, Manuel Alves amongst those. There are some that are in partnerships, and Dylan Pereira is in a partnership with Andre Fernandez in the number 17 car. We've got Pereira, who is a Pro-Am driver, Fernandez, who is an AM driver. So they will both score points in their individual races. And yesterday, Andre Fernandez came home in 4th point, so scored valuable points that will count towards both his and Dylan Pereira's total when it comes to the endurance race, which comes later on today. But as I've already mentioned, coming up first and foremost will be that sprint race. It's Pablo Hernandez who leads Nuno Innocentia in the Category 1 Championship, and he leads by 22 points. At least he did coming into this weekend, and we'll see what that is once both of the sprint races are done and dusted. We have 2 categories in Porsche Sprint Challenge Iberica. We have Category 1, which is made up of Porsche 911 GT3 Type 991.1 and 991.2. Those are the older cars. Of course, they have ABS as well. But Category 2 are the more up-to-date cars, the Porsche 911 GT3 Type 992. Those cars feature traction control as well as ABS. We also have the Cups as well. And in the Ladies' Cup, it's Francesca Queiroz who leads Maria Sanchez by 70 points. So in a really strong position. Because after this race today, this first race, there will be 90 points available to the drivers. So certainly with one hand on the Ladies' Cup trophy. Third is Chloe Grant, who has been great to welcome Chloe to Porsche Sprint Challenge Iberica this year, but she is 104 points back from Francesca Queiroz in the Ladies' Cup. In the Pro-Am Cup, Manuel Alves leads Dylan Pereira by 2 points. And in the AM Cup is Andre Fernandez, who leads Jorge Ramirez by 20 points. Francesca Queiroz, 53 points back in 3rd place. In the Gentlemen's Drivers, Nuno Innocentia leads the way. I say he leads the way. He's registered at the top of the points, but he is level with Daniel Garcia, both with 98 points. Asia Telleria in 3rd with 61 points, so 37 points adrift. Lob Motorsport lead the way in the teams. They are 3 points clear of AF and V Motorsport, with GT Corsa 25 points back in 3rd place. So that's all the parish notices in terms of championships. That is all going to change. Obviously, we already have provisional results. It's a very warm looking Manuel Alves car on the grid there. You can see the smoke coming out of the tires. Nobody is panicking too much. And on the lap to the grid, clearly Manuel has been doing a fair bit of work generating the heat in the tires and in the brakes, and the smoke, certainly nothing to be concerned about. Clearly just getting the temperature in this nice early stage. We're running just a little bit behind schedule here on this Sunday, so we're a teeny bit late starting this race. So the cars have just come to the grid, but I think we're going to be getting going very, very shortly, and it gives me a good opportunity to look at the grid positions for this race. It will be race 14 of the season, and Dylan Pereira, as already mentioned, is on pole position, and he will want to get that car to the front and keep it in front to keep that 2-point gap to the man who starts alongside him. Of course, if Manuel Alves can get the jump into the first corner, that would really give him an advantage in the points championship if he could outscore his rival. Dylan Pereira, of course, the only gold-rated driver in the race in this championship. Gold-rated means that he has a lot more experience, and we know that already about Dylan Pereira because, of course, he is a former champion in Porsche Mobil 1 Super Cup. All the drivers are rated by the FIA. You have the bronze-rated drivers, very much the gentleman drivers. You have the AM drivers, who are the silver-rated drivers, and the gold-rated drivers are the real professional. I mean, you have a lot of professional silver drivers as well, but the gold are very much the creme de la creme. And because of that, Dylan Pereira is required to carry an additional 23 kilograms of weight on his car. As we look at a new partnership here, there's Rui Morita and Chloe Grant. So they've been racing against each other this year, but now Chloe Grant has moved across to the number 33 car and joins Rui Morita in that car. And Chloe Grant will be the driver who will be behind the wheel of that car for this sprint race. Yesterday, it was Rui Morita who did the driving of the number 33 car and, of course, brought it home in first place in category. But yes, we have bronze, silver, and gold rated drivers. There are platinum drivers as well. We haven't got any of those here, but we have one gold rated driver. Dylan Pereira, though, because of that, is required to carry an extra 23 kilograms of ballast in this race, which will make a significant difference. Every kilo counts here on these cars. For the sprint race later on, because he's sharing with Andre Fernandez, who is not a gold-rated driver. He's in the AM category. It will be a reduced amount. It will be 11.5 kilos of ballast that will be on that car. But it means that Dylan Pereira is really going to have to get his elbows out if he wants to carry on at the front. Manuel Alves with that lighter car. On the next row, Borja Garcia has Jorge Ramirez for company. Then it's Sasha Hebrard and Nuno Batista. On row 4, Francisca Queiroz and Chloe Grant. It's an all-female row 4 of the grid. And it is a pole position in category 1 for Chloe Grant as well. On the next row, Felipe Carvalho and Daniel Garcia are alongside each other. Then Nuno Inocencio and Pablo Hernandez. Behind them, Brianna McDonald. Great to see her back again with Felipe Carvalho for company. And then bringing up the rear, Laura Camps in the number 36 car, who has jumped into the seat that was previously occupied by Chloe Grant. But with Chloe, she's still within Los Competiciones, the same team, but now alongside Rui Morita, who has been running solo this season up until now, but now with Chloe Grant for company. So we are at Circuit of Jerez Angel Nieto. Great to be here. Of course, we just call it Circuit Jerez, a legendary circuit, and it is 4.428 kilometers around. That equates to about 2.751 miles. There are 13 turns, 8 to the right and 5 to the left. The circuit is about 11 meters wide, so there are overtaking opportunities, but it is tricky. There are a couple of straights, about 600 meters long, one out of turn 13 and one out of turn 5, and it's the end of those where you get the best overtaking opportunities. It's a really interesting circuit because it's a variety of low, medium, and high speed corners. It's a circuit that we have very much associated with motorcycle racing in the past. And of course, Formula One has been here as well. It's hosted the Formula One Spanish Grand Prix a number of times in the past. Some great stories from the Formula One history here at Jerez. But our focus very much here is for Porsche Sprint Challenge Iberica this afternoon. This wonderful, wonderful series in its 3rd season, and has been really entertaining, really growing. A series that is exclusively in the Iberian Peninsula, enjoying the glorious weather and the glorious circuits. And while it rains around the rest of the world, the sun is shining in Jerez, as we, in a few moments, will get ready to start this 14th race of the season. So that lap, very, very important part of the race, the part of the race where the drivers get the heat into the tires and into the brakes. It means that when they arrive at speed into turn 1 in just a few moments, they will have the grip and they will have the stopping power. This is sprint racing. It will be 20 minutes plus 1 lap. Short and sharp. Porsche Sprint Challenge Iberica. 5 red lights on, 5 red lights off, and we are go. And it's Dylan Pereira who steps off that pole position. Manuel Alves slotting it in, but having a little look into turn 1, just shows his nose on the inside. The rest of the cars are just filing into position. Really important to keep it all together in these opening laps. There's still heat to be generated in the tyres into that windy little snaky section of turn 2 and 3. There's somebody in the background who's had a turn around, but we've got a challenge for the lead as well. Lots of places to look, but at the moment it is Dylan Pereira who leads the way. Manuel Alves looking very racy. There's 2 cars that got involved further back, so looks like they're able to rejoin, so no issues there in terms of safety cars. But look at this fight for the lead. The first two already breaking clear. The cars behind just weaving, looking for position. That's Borja Garcia in the background, still trying to generate heat into the tyres. Jorge Ramirez as well there. Ramirez having got off the line by Garcia, but everybody has now made it around the first few corners, including those that had that little coming together. So everything all pointing in the right direction as we get ready for this short, sharp race. At the moment, Dylan Pereira has now just broken a little bit clear of Manuel Alves. And the first two, though, well clear of the third place 22 car of Borja Garcia. So into the little windy section of the chicane they come. The rest of the cars all settling down into position. So the 20-minute race, I don't have a clock in front of me at the moment that shows us how long is left as things stand at the moment. But we are already well into the 20 minutes as we complete the first lap. So across the line we come. Dylan Pereira leading the way. Right, there's the clock. 18 minutes is what I was going to guess. About 1.123 clear of Manuel Alves. Borja Garcia up into that third place. Then it's Jorge Ramirez. So there's your race leader. Pereira looks to have this just covered off at the moment. Initially was looking very vulnerable to Manuel Alves, but now has broken clear. Alves will be very, very conscious of the championship. Of course, a non-finish now would give a massive advantage to Dylan Pereira in the championship. Alves, the defending champion, so rapid in this series, really takes his racing seriously, trains, gets himself very much fit and ready for every race, and that is proven by some amazing results. Alves, who's won 6 times this season, and would dearly like, well, actually we say 7, because of course he won in the first sprint race. No, it was the 6th one this morning in the first sprint race, so looking for his 7th in either this or the endurance race later on. But that shows how good he is. In the 17 car, Dylan Pereira has won 5 times. Of course, some of those races he has won with his teammate Andre Fernandez. So Pereira leading the way. Then it's Manuel Alves. Then Borja Garcia, Jorge Ramirez, Jose Barros. Then Sasha Hebrard, Hank van Zurst. Then Daniel Garcia. A good run from Francisco Queiroz, who's come up through the pack. And then our leading Category 1 car, which is Chloe Grant in 10th place at the moment. Still very much getting to grips. That is a 991.2 car. Up until this weekend, she's been running in a 991.1 car, so an older model. So she's got more up-to-date machinery for this race. 16 minutes remaining. It's short and sharp. It's a sprint. Of course, tomorrow, the cars will be required to come in for a mandatory pit stop, and in some cases, a driver change as well. We'll tell you more about that. When I say tomorrow, I mean later on this afternoon. Not used to having 2 races in one day here. It's great to have in the Porsche Sprint Challenge Iberica, always providing lots of racing over the weekends. So it will be later this afternoon that we will have the endurance race, and that will involve pit stops. And even for the drivers that are solo, they will still need to exit the car during their pit stop, but more of that to come later on. Right, we're looking now at a number of challenges further back. Borja Garcia has Jorge Ramirez for company. There's Sasha Hebrard in the number 15 car. Meanwhile, Dylan Pereira looks to have it under control. The gap, well, he's opened it up to a little over a second. In this series, there are 2 sets of new tyres that are allowed for qualifying and for the race. So it's really important to look after the rubber, and that's exactly what Dylan Pereira is doing. He's opened up the gap to 1.365 to Manuel Garcia, because Garcia now suddenly to Alves, because Alves suddenly has Garcia bearing down on him. There's Pablo Hernandez, who's into the pit, so clearly a problem there for the number 82 car in Category 1. But look at this, the fight for second place. Manuel Alves, having been challenging Dylan Pereira for the lead, now suddenly looking a little bit vulnerable to Borja Garcia. who's bearing down on him. Behind them is a bit of a gap back to Jorge Ramirez and Jose Barros. Then Sasha Hebrard and Henk van Zurst. And then we've got this battle coming through as well. There's Daniel Garcia, but ahead of them, Francesca Queiroz and also Chloe Grant. So Chloe Grant to the inside of Francesca Queiroz. So Chloe Grant clearly enjoying being behind the wheel of that car. Picks up a position and is up into 9th place. 2nd place very much up for grabs at the moment. Manuel Alves with Borja Garcia bearing down on him in the number 22 car. The quickest man on the track at the moment, unsurprisingly, is our leader, Dylan Pereira. 148.316 is his best lap time in this race. But at the moment, that fight for 2nd place continues to rage on. The gap between 2nd and 3rd, well, you can see what it is on your screens, but there's also fighting going on up and down the back, further back through. There is the 33 car of Chloe Grant now being registered on the timing screens in that 9th place. Next up ahead of her is Daniel Garcia, just a little over a 10th ahead. So Chloe Grant, really, really good. She's certainly come alive with the added performance with this better car that she's in for this weekend. 2nd place, Manuel Alves, now having to look in his mirrors, having been hunting for the lead. Now Borja Garcia continuing to bear down on him. Borja Garcia, who shares with Alejandro Barambio, and the two of them will be racing later on this afternoon in the endurance race. But Garcia, who was in the Porsche Mobil 1 Super Cup at Barcelona earlier this year, has come through Spanish touring cars and also Euro NASCAR. So he's a real dab hand at different disciplines of racing. Manuel Alves, of course, very experienced, especially in this discipline. The defending champion of Porsche Sprint Challenge, Iberica, now defending his 2nd place. He's got 12 minutes still remaining of this race to hold off the number 22 car. The 22 car just keeping himself in the mirrors. All of this while Alves is having to defend the line into the corners, allows the race leader Dylan Pereira to stretch his legs at the front. He's now doubled the gap at the front, up to 2.294. So continues to push on quickly at the front. Right, look at this, the 33 car. Once again, Chloe Grant, this time on Daniel Garcia. She has really come alive at the wheel of the 33 car. Now challenging to the outside of the 75 of Daniel Garcia, trying to go the long way around. The left-hander coming up around the outside she goes. What a great move from Chloe Grant up into 8th place. So that's 2 positions in 2 laps for her. Next up the road will be Henk van Zurst, but he's about 6.5 seconds up the road. Make that 6.9. So Chloe clearly takes a bit of time to go round the outside of a car, but now is going to set about after that 7th place. So great stuff as they head around turn 11, then into turn 12, the 5th gear corner, taking about 215 kilometers an hour, and the end into turn 13, which will be a 180-degree corner, turn 13, Curva Jorge Lorenzo, which will lead them out on to the pit straight in just a few moments. There's Borja Garcia still challenging for that 2nd place. At the moment, into 3rd place and holding station, Manuel Alves, who started in the front row alongside Dylan Pereira, but Pereira has now just slowly picked up that pace, a 2.895 second gap at the front. 10 minutes remaining of this sprint race. Dylan Pereira leads the way. Then it's this battle, Manuel Alves ahead of Borja Garcia. Then here is Jorge Ramirez ahead of Jose Barros and Sasha Hebrard in the number 15 car just in the background. Alves having to defend, having to get his elbows out, having to look after the tyres and the brakes. Temperature about 23 degrees centigrade here. If you overheat the tyres, if you take too much out, you're going to have nothing to defend with or attack with later on in the race. But at the moment, Alves is having to defend for all he's worth because Garcia has a little look to the inside, then to the outside, slots in behind. Out onto the pit straight they come. Under the big UFO towards turn one they will come. Will there be a challenge for Borja Garcia? Ducks to the right, then back to the left, tries to sell the dummy. I think you're going to have to get up pretty early in the morning to do that on Manuel Alves. He has it covered off as they head into turn two, a second gear corner taken at about 100 kilometers an hour. Then into turn two, taken at about 80 kilometers an hour in second gear. A little quick right and a left, then into turn three, a really fast head up in towards turn four, where they reach about 200 kilometers an hour before the heavy braking into turn five, third gear corner, taken at about 140 kilometers an hour. Then we're back onto the back straight. This is a slight downhill section. Absolute full beans here. Going to reach about 235 kilometers an hour in sixth gear before the heavy braking down into second gear of turn six, Curva Dani Pedrosa. Then is in towards turn seven, taken in third or fourth gear, about 190 kilometers an hour, round to turn eight, Curva Jorge Martinez Aspar, a fourth gear corner, taken at about 150 kilometers an hour. Then it's in towards turn nine, Curva Angelao Nieto, the third gear corner that is named after the person that this circuit is named after, into turn 10, and then it's around to the chicane Senna, named after Ayrton Senna, turn 11, a fourth gear corner. Out of that into turn 12, a fifth gear corner, taking about 250 kilometers an hour. Then we will head up towards the 180. That is turn 13, Curva Jorge Lorenzo, and then back out onto the pit straight once again. Again, Borja Garcia. Well, there's Manuel Alves flashing the lights desperately at the number 27 car, Brianna McDonald, just up ahead, saying, get out the way. I'm trying to defend second place. Can he hold on for another 7.25 minutes? Because Borja Garcia looking very rapid and very, very eager. Once again, into turns 2 and 3 they come. Manuel Alves doing a great job defending, but all of this playing into the hands of Dylan Pereira. Now 4.597 seconds clear, and certainly looking very comfortable to match Manuel Alves' score from the first race. If things finish as they are now, well, Manuel Alves, he's got to win. That will count as his point score from the two sprint races, as Borja Garcia tries to hang it around the outside. A gutsy move from the number 22 car for GT Corsa, but slots back in behind at the moment. Manuel Alves has a maximum point score from the sprints already as a result of that win earlier today, but he wants to hold on to that second place because he wants to stop Borja Garcia from moving forwards and picking up potential points as well. Here comes Manuel Alves once again. 6 minutes remaining of this race. He's doing a sterling job holding on to that second place. Dylan Pereira continues his march at the front. 5.5 seconds to the good of this battle. The battle for second place. Second, third, running together. Looking to the outside. Borja Garcia out of that final corner. Out onto the pit straight. Out of turn 13. And now the flat out section. Again, reaching speeds of about 235 kilometers. Then heavy on the brakes into turn 1. Alves has the line, but Garcia is going to try and go the long way around. Unfortunately for him, it's a right-hander coming next. So even having that outside line is not going to give him any advantage. He tries to cut back to the inside. Manuel Alves with a couple of wheels close to the white line. Now Garcia to the inside. Finally, he gets the job done. But Alves coming back at him. 5 minutes remaining of this race. It's Borja Garcia who's up into that second place. Manuel Alves relegated down into third place. Now can he fight back? Taking a wide line out of turn 5. Down the hill they come towards turn 6. Along the back straight into the braking of turn 6. But Borja Garcia, the number 22 driver, has got this one signed and sealed and will now set about after Dylan Pereira. But with 4 minutes and 40 seconds plus 1 lap remaining of this race, Dylan Pereira will not be at all troubled by this. So that is the fight. And there's a spinner as well. Car 88, Jorge Ramirez, who was running in 4th place, was closing in on Manuel Alves in a livery that is very identical. Calm down, all the Manuel Alves fans. It was Jorge Ramirez who had a little spin. So he's able to rejoin. He's kept it out of the gravel, kept it out of the barriers. But that 4th place is almost certainly is going to have been threatened by Jose Barros there. So 2nd place, Borja Garcia. Done a good job getting past Manuel Alves. That is quite a feat. Manuel Alves, who has finished 1st or 2nd in every single race this year, bar one. In Monte Blanco, he got a 3rd place. What were you thinking? And is looking like a 3rd place here in the 2nd sprint race at Jerez as well. So he will equal his worst score of the season. But when you've finished every single race on the podium, you know you are having a good season. He is the defending champion. He is the championship leader. And if everything finishes as it is now, Manuel Alves and Dylan Pereira will head into the endurance race this afternoon with a 2-point gap between them to the advantage of Manuel Alves. But the points are not paid out until the checkered flag falls. Dylan Pereira certainly leading the way at the moment. Needs to be careful about track limits, as do all the cars. 1 wheel over the white line. The line that is closest to the track is acceptable. 2 wheels over the white line is unacceptable. And we've seen it already, particularly in free practice and in quali, drivers having laps cancelled when they've ended up with 2 wheels over the white line. And Dylan Pereira would certainly not want to risk anything there, but he is such an experienced pilot, a multiple champion. The driver is 1 in category at the Nürburgring 24-hour race as well, leading the way here. Meanwhile, after that spin, Daniel Garcia all the way down in 9th place now with the 35 car, Francisca Queiroz just behind. All that's been going on. Chloe Grant has cemented her place in 8th. And that is a really good job from her. Francisca Queiroz to the inside of Daniel Garcia. Garcia thought about turning in. You saw the car snaking slightly under braking, but Francesca Queiroz had it covered off, and that is into 9th place for her. So Garcia's day going from bad to worse as he falls back through the pack. Dylan Pereira continues to lead, 6.675. That's what 6.5 seconds looks like in Porsche Sprint Challenge Iberica. In the background, Borja Garcia has just come round the corner. Looks like he's got Manuel Alves covered off. So your 1, 2, 3, your podium finishers very much separated now. But of course, you've still got to keep it all together. You've got to get it home because the points are not paid out until the checkered flag. There is 2nd, there is 3rd. Down the hill on the exit of turn 5 they come in towards turn 6. A really sharp right-hander, 2nd gear corner. And that is what makes this circuit at Jerez so good, because you have such a contrast of high speed and low speed corners. Really testing the drivers, testing the machines, but it's not testing Dylan Pereira. 7.140 is the gap between himself and 2nd place of Borja Garcia. So Pereira with 50 seconds plus 1 lap remaining. So when the clock strikes 0, Pereira will finish the lap that he is on, and then he will start 1 more after that. So I think we're looking at about 2 more laps left on this race. Garcia looks to have got that 2nd place well cemented. Still needs to bring it home. Manuel Alves, 3rd place. Still gets some silverware to take home. Right, out across the line comes Dylan Pereira. The team cheering on from the side. AF&V Motorsport, who do a sterling job preparing that car for both Dylan Pereira and Andre Fernandez. Of course, they got Jose Barros and Nuno Batista, as well as drivers for one of their other cars. But it's Dylan Pereira who's leading the way at the moment, just flashing the lights for no apparent reason. Out of the corner he comes. The clock has struck 0, so it'll be this lap and then 1 more for Dylan Pereira, and it will be a maximum point score of 18 points that will go to him and will reduce the gap back to 2 points as it was coming into this weekend between himself and Manuel Alves. Andre Fernandez in that third place in the points standing. So here comes Dylan Pereira once again, all in control, 7.5 seconds. He's got enough time to lift off, but of course, when you do let the concentration drop, when you do back out of it, that's often when the mistakes come. Dylan Pereira has done many thousands of laps of racing, and he will be very wise to all of this as we look at the green distinctive car once again coming round to complete the penultimate lap of this race. Keeping it all together, pushing quite hard. You can see the back end drifting slightly as well. Dylan Pereira very much in control. Started on pole position and got in front, fended off Manuel Alves, and now comes out of turn 13 to start the final lap of the race. The blue flag being shown to the back marking car in front. And now just 4.4 kilometers of the Jerez circuit remaining. Daniel Garcia with the 35 car, Francesco Queiroz. So these two have been going wheel to wheel for a little while now. Queiroz fancies stealing that 9th place from Daniel Garcia. So he is going to be defending as hard as he can because he is about to start his final lap of the race too. The leading driver in category 1 is Chloe Grant. Has done a sterling job up to 8th place. Maybe she would have enjoyed it if this race was half an hour, because she is just 1.2 back from Henk van Zurst. But that is going to be a too big a mountain to climb, I think, with a very little time remaining in this race. We see a number of the cars into turn 11 for the penultimate time. Dylan Pereira on his final lap as we speak, completing that. He's into what will be the final parts of that lap, and in just a few moments he will be getting ready to receive that checkered flag. So there is the pit straight, and there is the 44 car of Nuno Inocencio just moving to the side. I'm wondering if there was a problem there for him. Dylan Pereira, no such issues there in the number 17 car. He's kept it all together. He started on pole position. He was attacked by Manuel Alves at the start of the race, but he looked after the machinery, he looked after the tyres, and he brings it home to win in Sprint Race 2 here at Jerez, round 5 of Porsche Sprint Challenge Iberica. His 6th win of the season. Borja Garcia had to work hard for it, but takes the 2nd step of the podium. Manuel Alves in 3rd place. You're 1, 2, 3. Then we're going to have a bit of a gap before we wait for Jose Barros in the number 77 car to come next. It will be Barros who will cross the line to take 4th place ahead of Sasha Hebrard, who comes around turn 13 now. So out across the line comes Barros and Hebrard, and then it's going to be Jorge Ramirez after a little moment of rotation, and then we went to wait a while for Henk van Zurst to come next, and he will have Chloe Grant not too far behind. Having said that, Chloe Grant has dropped back about half a second from Henk van Zurst, so she's about 1.7 seconds back. We just wait for the other runners to come through. It'll be Henk van Zurst that will come next in the number 41 car for Squalo Competición, who comes around the corner very quickly there. And out across the line, he comes to receive the checkered flag. It'll be a 7th place for him. Brilliant job from Chloe Grant into 8th place. Some really good, solid racing there. And then Daniel Garcia looks like he's been able to hold off Francesco Queiroz for 9th place. Queiroz rounding out the top 10. And then, having started at the very beginning, Laura Camps, who will come in 11th place. And that will be ahead of Felipe Carvalho, Brianna McDonald, Nuno Inocencio, who looked to be having some problems in the closing stages of the race. And of course, Pablo Hernandez, who we saw pulling off into the pits with issues. There's a big lockup just in front there. It was Laura Camps who might have had a bit of a moment going into turn 1. But no problems there because the checkered flag is out, and it was Dylan Pereira. A dominant performance in the end, despite the early defending ahead of Borja Garcia. Great job there in the number 22 car. Manuel Alves ahead of Jose Barros, Sasha Hebrard, Jorge Ramirez, then Henk van Zurst, Chloe Grant rounding out the top 8 and winning in Category 1 ahead of Daniel Garcia, Francisco Queiroz, Laura Camps, Felipe Carvalho, then Brianna McDonald and Nuno Inocentia, who round out the top 15. And that concludes what has been a great sprint race 2. Of course, just at the bottom of the graphic there, you just briefly saw Pablo Hernandez, who had to retire from the race. But it means that going into the endurance race this afternoon, the gap returns to 2 points between Manuel Alves and Dylan Pereira in the Category 2 championship. In the Category 1 championship, the Pablo Hernandez retirement means that Nuno Inocencio is able to close in on that. I do hope you have enjoyed our coverage of the first sprint race as the cars come in to Parc Fermé. And in just a few moments, the drivers will climb out and will head towards the podium. So the drivers now climbing from the cars, and there is Dylan Pereira, who receives the congratulations from the team. And there, Andre Fernandez as well, his co-driver, the driver that he's coaching, the driver that he will be sharing that driving seat with in the endurance race this afternoon. And AF&V Motorsport, they do a fantastic job preparing that car, the distinctive green livery. And it is a real privilege to have Dylan Pereira on the grid of Porsche Sprint Challenge Iberica. A driver, as already mentioned, does an awful lot of other racing as well, number of other disciplines, and a really welcome addition here to the grid here in Porsche Sprint Challenge Iberica for round 5 at Jerez. We started in Portimao. We went to Monteblanco, Valencia, Navarra, and now at Jerez for round 5. And we saw Dylan Pereira stepping off that pole position. Manuel Alves initially looking like he was going to challenge for the lead and showing himself to the inside into turn 1. It was not going to be such a good start for the cars on the road behind. Certainly not for the Jorge Ramirez car, because Borja Garcia was able to break clear and then challenge for the lead. Chloe Grant was doing a brilliant job in the number 33 car, moving her way forwards, picking off the positions one by one and moving up to take the win in Category 1. There was a bit of contact early on, and that would have not helped the number 22 car. That one went under the radar. Borja Garcia making contact with another car, but was then able to challenge for second place. And what a challenge it was. It made several moves. Manuel Alves had him covered off, but eventually it was to the inside. And there was this spinning number 88 car, Jorge Ramirez, pointing in the wrong direction. The battles continued, and Francesca Queiroz in the number 35 car was also trying to push forwards. Also Brianna McDonald in the number 27 car. Good to have her here. But everybody pushing for points, pushing for podiums, and pushing for trophies. But Dylan Pereira didn't look to have any hassle at all, sailing through. There was Nuno Inocencio, who pulled off to the side in the closing stages of the race. That would have had some implications in the championship of Category 1, but no such issues for the Category 2 and the overall winner. It was Dylan Pereira, who was pretty dominant in the end, quite a few seconds clear of the second place Borja Garcia car. Manuel Alves bringing it home to third place. And that was a thoroughly entertaining race 2 for Porsche Sprint Challenge Iberica here at Jerez, as we have one more race this afternoon, the endurance race, and then our eyes will turn to Estoril in a couple of weeks when we will have the season closer and our champions will be crowned. So really entertaining stuff from the Porsche Sprint Challenge Iberica. And what a great race it was. Thoroughly entertaining. So I hope you've enjoyed Porsche Sprint Challenge Iberica. We can see the Caterhams coming out onto the circuit now, which means it's time for me to exit stage left. But do join us again this afternoon when we will have Porsche Sprint Challenge Iberica, the third race of the weekend, and it will be the Endurance. I will see you then.